It's important to honour what happened in the Western Front.
The New Zealand Government has started to commit funds for the 100-year commemorative events of our nation's commitment in the First World War. Much of the focus is usually on Gallipoli or the Somme, but our greatest tragedy, our darkest day, was on the Western Front in Passchendaele in Belgium. Living on those fields that obliterated everything and destroyed so many lives is why Varlet Descamps has committed to ensuring that what happened in Passchendaele is never forgotten.
I've always felt that need to see the world. Due to circumstances, I didn't have the opportunity, so my attitude was, if I can't see the world, I'm going to bring the world to me. That has worked very well. And once I had that focus on the First World War, it became a mission to me to tell people who came to the area about the history, the fields they were walking on. Each and every field has history behind it. So it became a mission to tell that story.
The Belgians have shown that they value and respect the commitment that our soldiers made during the First World, especially coming from the uttermost ends of the earth and making such a huge sacrifice.
And making clear that to all different countries that the Belgians haven't forgotten, that the Belgians do value the effort which was put in. You know, it were your families, your husbands, brothers, sons, you know, of this country that came to fight for the freedom of Belgium. Even it's nearly 100 years ago, we haven't forgotten.
Remembering the past and learning from what happened is important if we are to understand what defines us as a country.
As a Belgian, the day you're born, you're taught to look towards the future. Abroad, people look towards the past to take lessons. And I've come to realize it's important that you take lessons from the past. It's a part of history we have in common. Your country and our country, we have that history in common, and it's important that people don't forget. The Great War was the war to end all wars, remember? No one took the lesson, apparently. What we try to make sure is that people do take lessons, that they don't turn a blind eye to the past.
Having made a choice to bring the world to her home, Charlotte, who lives and now teaches what living on the battlefield means, where tons of ammunition and bodies are still found 96 years later.
It's part of daily life. For farmers living on the salient, whenever you plough, whenever you harvest, whenever you work in the fields, in the soil, you know you're going to come across a legacy of the First World War.
And it's this history, this first-hand daily living in the battlefield, that started her mission to tell the world, and why, as New Zealand leads up to 100 years since our greatest loss of life, we should be mindful of what the Belgians will be doing to commemorate our men and women who never came home.
Our society has put together a whole program of commemoration events, which will then fit under the large umbrella of all commemoration events, because the coming period of time of commemoration, 2014-2018, every year again, focuses will be put on different battles. An awful lot of events will be organised. It's telling the history 100 years later.
It's a story we all need to remember. Kane, CTV News.
And after the break, a charity ball in the airport.